What's up, everyone? Today we're going to be discussing the topic of the dog chasing the car. Now, I have to credit this quote to Jenna Marbles as she describes it. Basically, what she says is that you are the dog chasing the car. You wouldn't know what to do if you actually caught it. Now, what she means by this is a lot of people think that they would get along well and have a great time with certain types of people that they're interested in. Maybe it's their crush, maybe it's someone they just like physically. But in all reality, it's not that simple, and chances are this person is not how you envision that person to be. And a lot of people screw this up. They're like, oh, what if I talk to this person? I can't believe I chickened out, I never talked to this person. And ultimately, it's true. You never want to have that feeling of regret, and that's why I've since then stepped up and for the last couple of years been that person who's gone out there and done this sort of stuff. However, the whole putting so much emphasis and importance on that one person is kind of what shoots yourself in the foot. When I do it nowadays, I realize that, okay, she's interesting, but that doesn't mean there's other girls out there, so it's okay if something screws up, and she's not what it seems. And oftentimes, just by probability, it's not what it seems. I have a very distinct set of interests, and a lot of people just happen to bore me. It's not their fault. Unless I bring my own fun, a lot of people are just not into my interests, and their interests are just not that interesting to me. For instance, I like Japanese manga. I like investing. I like particular films that make me think, like Inception. I like this multiplayer online battle arena game called League of Legends. I can go on, and it just so happens that I have a lot of very distinct interests. Now, one could always do what a lot of people do. The average chode or the average Joe would probably lie and fake himself and pretty much say, oh, I like your interest too, when in reality he doesn't. And what ends up happening, you just still end up being bored, and you end up, eventually revealing your true self to the girl. And it just doesn't work, honestly. You need that sort of chemistry at least. And obviously it's different depending on what you're doing and what you're looking for. But I feel like most people aren't looking for just a hookup. That's like the only time when physical attraction is like the only necessity. And even then, like, a lot of females and a lot of males require at least some sort of chemistry before they get to that state. So ultimately, for most scenarios, you kind of want to be able to talk to that person freely and so forth. And so when a lot of guys, build up this girl, or a lot of girls build up this guy, and they're like, oh, I screwed it up, I didn't talk to that person. Chances are, if you did, it wouldn't have went perfectly. There wouldn't have been that much to talk about. But that doesn't mean you don't try, because chances are one day you will eventually meet someone who, at the very least, for me it's different because of my very distinct interests, but for a lot of people who have more general interests like soccer or football, they'll probably eventually hit someone who understands them and gets them. And again, a lot of times these people are just too caught up in it, and that's one of the reasons they don't approach. They're wondering, what should I say? What should I say? And then they ascribe this to, oh my goodness, my social skills suck, and I don't know what to say when I'm talking to girls. When in reality, let's say you're really into anime, and you met a girl who's really into anime, chances are you could talk freely about that. You could probably tell just from afar that she's really into anime based off the, manga and Japanese style clothing, hairstyle, or maybe just a small thing like a trinket that's part of a manga series that she's wearing. And ultimately, at the end of the day, sometimes it's one of those things that you ultimately don't know until you approach. Someone could just be wearing plain clothes, like myself, and be really into a subject, and you won't know until you approach. I guess the biggest thing is ultimately to not be so invested into an interaction with someone that you don't know that much about, realizing that there's plenty of fish in the sea, there's billions of people in the world, and ultimately realizing that, hey, it's probably not going to be like your true love or your soulmate, but it's now, there's not a problem with trying, and again, there's not a problem with making friends. For me personally, what I define as friend is different from most people. It's not an acquaintance, which is what a lot of people define as friend, and therefore, unless I click to a certain extent, that's not a real friend. So again, that's for me personally, but for a lot of people, if it doesn't work out, at least, hey, you could potentially make a friend. If not, nothing lost. At least you tried, and you should be very proud of trying. So ultimately, I guess it comes back to just being free of the outcome, not ingrained on what you find in that person, and just living your life and cultivating a life that you find interesting, rather than going up to people and trying to take value or bend over to their interests, because that's not that interesting in itself. And that's all we want to say, and you should be proud if you had the courage to do such a thing. Thanks, and as always, like, favorite, comment, and share this video with someone you think would be influenced or liked it. Thanks for watching, and hit the subscribe button. It's free, and it'll let you know when I post a new video. Thanks for watching.